Welcome to this Sparsholt College Group Tutorial Programme podcast, where we will be looking at British values and keeping yourself safe from harm online. Firstly, let's begin with British values. These values that we share as a nation aren't exclusive to being British, but guide us to be a nation where everyone feels safe, valued, and free to be themselves. So what are they and what do they mean? British values are made up of 4 areas: democracy, rule of law, mutual respect and tolerance, and individual liberty. Behind all of these values is the fact that while we might not all share the same beliefs, faiths, or ideals, we should respect others and feel respected and safe in our own ideals. We shouldn't impose our beliefs on anyone else, as we wouldn't wish others to do to us. Sometimes we can get caught up in thinking our way is the best way, but remember that we are all different. It's not saying we can't debate our ideals and have a lively discussion with each other, all the time learning more about one another, but we shouldn't force people to think our way. Being in a democratic country, our voice matters. Our votes guide the decisions made by the government for the best running of the country. Democracy makes the fair call of majority the deciding factor in decision-making, rather than the few. In college, the student voice guides how we do our jobs, how we spend our funding, and how we make it the best place possible for you to study and thrive. The laws in this country are put in place to help us live and work in a happy, safe, and secure environment. Abiding by the laws set in place through democratic processes is in our best interests if we wish to remain safe. In college, the rules are set out for this very reason, with the primary goal to keep you safe and keep you developing your skills in the course you're taking. We can express our individuality through freedom of speech, freedom of choice, and individual presentation, taking the guidance from the above values into account. Our individual liberty protects our rights, and expressing our individuality demonstrates our value in British society, each of us unique but with a shared goal of harmony. At college, you're encouraged to express your individuality as much as possible. Our student government allows you to speak regularly with our senior leadership team to put your views across to make college a better place. However, it's important that you are aware of the dangers from those in society who want to violate our British values. As a result, let's look at who is at risk of being radicalised, especially through the internet. Anyone can be at risk of being radicalised regardless of their age, but teenagers and young people can sometimes be at a greater risk. This is because they might be entering a new phase in their lives, such as going to college or university, or they might be struggling with a sense of identity or belonging. Extremists know how to capitalise on feelings of insecurity and convince the person they can help by providing a solution. They don't have the person's best interest at heart and will twist the narrative to suit their end goal of radicalisation. Radicalisers use social media to identify vulnerability. The internet has made it much easier for radicalisers to find and identify people who might be easily influenced and drawn into extremist behaviour. Social media platforms and internet forums are full of people reaching out online to combat feelings of isolation and loneliness, stress, anxiety or rejection. This can sometimes leave them feeling very upset or angry and potentially at risk from people looking to exploit these feelings. A radicaliser will try to connect with them or will join in the forum chat posing as a listening ear or a friend. Radicalisers know what triggers to look for. When someone is experiencing difficulties or challenges in their life, extremist messages or contact with extremist groups can give them a feeling of belonging or a sense of a common purpose that they did not have before. This sense of community and identity can be a very powerful draw or pull, especially if the person is feeling isolated or misunderstood. Radicalisers are trained to know what to look for, or what type of posts or information to use that could help to trigger the person to find out more. They will then entice them to have conversations with them using different channels. This is where, hidden from the public view, the person can be exposed to violent propaganda and extremist views. Private chats and invitation only. Radicalisers will first try to build a connection with the person to show them that they get them. This can be a gradual process as the radicaliser takes the time to understand them and how they're feeling. They do this so that they can find and identify the person's trigger, which they will work on to draw them further in. W. Joseph is an intervention provider who has supported many people at risk of radicalisation to turn away from extremism. He has seen how radicalisers target and tailor the grooming to the individual. The following is a quote from W. Joseph. intervention provider. The radicalizers are good at research and send people down a rabbit hole by providing a clear narrative. They point them towards conspiracy theories, for example. It works if the individual wants a clear narrative to follow. Once they have established a deeper connection with the person, they will invite them to chat privately on another platform on the dark web, a gaming platform, or on encrypted messaging apps like Telegram or Parler. How they exploit vulnerable people. Radicalizers are very good at identifying people's anxieties and exploiting their vulnerability. They will offer them a new narrative or a way out from how they're feeling. Once the person at risk of being drawn into extremism is invited into a closed group, then the group chat acts like an echo chamber. This is when the opinions or narratives expressed are not challenged, but are being reinforced by the group. Every day we hear and see information and news from lots of different sources and perspectives, but if you're only hearing and seeing the same opinions and views, then it's like being in an echo chamber. This can make it hard for the person to consider any opposing views and can lead them to become more extreme. What online channels are used to target vulnerable people online? Extremists use lots of different channels to try to connect with someone who they think could be vulnerable and persuadable. They will look at posts and tweets, likes and shares, and social media profiles and friend lists to identify people to target. Signs that can show a person may be a victim of online radicalization. More important than any one sign is the feeling that something is not quite right. Parents and friends are best placed to spot any changes in behavior. If you're worried, then trust your instincts and reach out for help and advice. If you act early, the person can receive support and choose a different pathway before it's too late. Here are some signs to watch out for in the person you're worried about. They're becoming increasingly intolerant of other people's views. They're becoming secretive of who they're talking to online. They are sharing or liking extremist posts on social media. If you're concerned about someone you know, you should contact a member of the college wellbeing or safeguarding team, led by Ben Stokes, our Vice Principal. The college's safeguarding support process will then ensure the safeguarding team work with individuals at risk of being drawn into terrorism, assess the nature and extent of that risk, and develop the most appropriate support plan for the person of concern. However, please remember, if there is an immediate risk to life, call 999. Thank you for joining this Sparsholt College Group tutorial program podcast. If you have any questions, please speak to your progress coach.